Now, Trump, while he was running for office, made a lot of promises to white America. Some good promises. Some things that I actually supported. Now, I never for a second believed that Trump would do anything that he said he was going to do, because Trump is a con man. Nothing more, nothing less. And the white majority is really, really not the smartest people. I have to tell y'all, and we have to remember, because black people are always hemming and hawing about what white folks do or don't do. White people are the most heavily indoctrinated population on the face of this earth. White Americans are the most delusional and propagandized population. And I don't know if that makes you sympathetic to them or not, but it is the truth. If you talk to the average white person, the things they believe about economics and capitalism, the things they believe about their own history, about who their heroes are. Imagine being a little white kid and all your life you're told George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Norman Schwarzkopf and King David and all this other stuff and King George and Queen Elizabeth, and you're told all these, and King Arthur of the Round Table. You're told all this grand stuff about who you are in your history, and you literally find out that your parents and your ancestors were criminal thugs, incestuous criminal thugs who were brought here as penalties for crimes, atrocious crimes, and got here and committed atrocious crimes. That the people you looked up to were rapists and pedophiles and murderers all your life. And then you have to make a decision. Do I continue on with the lie and tell my children that same lie that I was told? Do I even deny and ignore the facts? Or do I, and some of them say, hey, I'm going to accept the truth. And they become progressives, they become revolutionaries. They go and join Antifa or Deep Green Resistance or PETA. So some white folks, but the vast majority of white people is like, I'm just going to play this lie forward because it becomes too much. And I'm not just talking about common white folks. I had a history professor. They got a PhD in history from Harvard. And she knew next to nothing about actual history. She knew the techniques for researching history. She knew the techniques and the proper format for writing and documenting history. And she knew next to no actual history. So they're very indoctrinated people. And frankly, they're unfit to rule over us. They're not even fit to rule themselves. But we tend to confuse because, like, wait a minute, they came up with Gatling guns and cannons and internet porn. They've invented all these wonderful things. First of all, they didn't invent them, a lot of them. When you start to look at the history from the Nobel laureates and stuff, there's a lot of academic theft and a lot of theft and perversion of technologies that came from the East, from the Orient, or came from Africa. They take a lot of those, mapping techniques, shipbuilding techniques, pyrotechnics, and turn them into weapons. They weaponize a lot of cultures. Even with the internet, you'll find out they got these special visas where they're bringing engineers from Central and Eastern Europe, and a lot of Central and Eastern Europeans are not considered white. They go to Africa and India and other parts of Asia, and they bring these engineers here on these special visas, and they make them work, and then after the visa, they send them back, and then some white man will step up and be like, I have the patent for this technology, not knowing he had some poor engineer from India do all the coding, do all the hard work, and then the white man goes and does the paperwork and opens up the accounts and files for the trademarks and the copyrights and the patents. So, it is what it is. I'm just saying. You know how they do. So that's how they do. Anyway, but give credit where credit is due. They work hard at taking other people's stuff and maintaining their hegemony. I'm not going to take that up. They're exhausted. They're willing to send thousands of their own damn children to die on foreign soil for that. But we have to understand, they are the most heavily indoctrinated. They are not aligned with truth. But when you're in power, you get to define what truth is. The power is the ability to define reality and have it act in a specified manner. They have the ability to define reality. They have the ability to call totalitarianism democracy. They have the ability to create this warped concepts of equality and justice and rights. They have that ability. And then there's another John B. Watson said, you give me my own specified world and I can turn people into whatever I want them to be. And they put a lot of effort into mass manipulation. But the number one and primary target of mass manipulation, coming out of everywhere from the CIA to various think tanks to corporate propaganda, the number one target of all this mind manipulation are the white masses. So when you have a population that is well-resourced, well-armed, and heavily indoctrinated, what type of outcomes can you look forward to? Because white people have been played. And we always focus on how we get played. And you always try to act like, especially a lot of these so-called conscious people talk about when black people vote Democrat. We so stupid, we vote Democrat. But what they don't understand is that the only voting bloc dumber than black people in America that keep voting Democrat, the only thing dumber than a black person voting Democrat is a white person voting Republican. So white people are a lot dumber politically than we are. And you say, how can that be? Because they get a lot of money. And we look at that. We look at white folks have a lot of money. The average white person has between $200,000 and to $180,000 of wealth. And the black person, the average black wealth stands at about zero. Between $5,000 to zero. They have a lot more resources than us. And then their propaganda tells them they have all that money because they work hard and they get married and they follow the scriptures. They compete and sacrifice. And black people have nothing because we're lazy and shiftless. What is it? Shiftless? That has nothing to do with welfare, even though it's welfare like a mug. So anyway, Trump has this re-election campaign. Trump realizes he's done nothing for the white people who put him in office. He's done a lot more for the people who fought to keep him out of office, just like Obama. See, that's how we realized when Obama did this, but we don't recognize. Trump, a lot of the mainstream liberals who are wealthy white liberals, the tech industry, and the only industries that really supported Trump, only major industries that truly supported Trump were coal, natural gas, and oil. All of the other industry, technology, automobile industries, the retail, all these other industries, even the big media conglomerates work against Trump. Even Fox News was anti-Trump. One of the people that Trump's policies have benefited the most was Barack Obama. Barack Obama will make tens of millions of dollars more under. So just like Obama did nothing for the people who voted for him, Trump has done less than the people who voted for him. Trump created policies so that the white working class people who voted for him, he allows more mercury, more lead, more dioxin to be dumped in there. And yes, it gets dumped on us too. But he never promised us anything. He said to us what you got to lose. He didn't say, tell us what we had to gain. So I'm talking about white folks now. But I'm going to relate it back to black folks because we in this. So he created policies. He, through his EPA, basically gutting of the EPA, has allowed for more pollution. He's done everything in the power. Now you got conservative white people like, wait a minute, I'm against the Obamacare, but I want the Affordable Care Act. White people don't even understand that the Affordable Care Act is the official name. Obamacare doesn't exist. That's just a propaganda or agitprop name given to the Affordable Care Act. And all these white people were like, yeah, they like the Affordable Care Act, but they don't like Obamacare. So they voted against Obamacare, and now they're losing their health care. They're getting more pollution dropped on their heads. Remember, Trump said that he's going to bring steel jobs, and for every steel job that he brought back, the jobs in plexiglass, jobs in other industries get dried up. And many other construction and development and manufacturing jobs are dying under Trump. He has not reopened the mines. Remember, he said coal was going to come back because he lied and told them the reason why coal jobs were being displaced is because Obama was regulating coal to protect the environment, which was a lie because Obama didn't protect the environment. All 8 years of Obama's presidency, carbon emissions went up steadily. Not 1 year did he reduce carbon emissions. There was 1 year he held carbon emissions steady, but he was not an pro-ecology president, and he single-handedly allowed for the destruction of the Gulf of Mexico that it still hasn't been repaired. And again, just like the Amazon forest, we ignore that. So Trump lied to white people. White people got more guns and way more entitlement than we do. Like, you can lie to black folks and we vote for somebody that lied to us, we're just stupid. But if you vote for white folks, vote for somebody that lied to them, it's not because they're stupid, it's because politics are corrupt and we got to get Second Amendment remedies. And Second Amendment remedies is white folks take their guns and start shooting everything. And it's so funny that with all these mass shootings, no billionaires, no politicians get shot. It's just other poor and working class people they shoot. But they all tell us those guns are for fighting tyranny, but a tyrant never gets shot with these poor white people's guns. So anyway, what Trump is doing, literally in some sectors, especially agriculture, farmer suicides are going up again. They started to reduce under Obama and his trade policies. They were up under George Bush and up under Reagan. And then the farmers said, wait, agriculture is now again a viable industry under Obama. But they hated Obama. Not because Obama was black, but because they were white. They don't hate us because we're black. They don't abuse us because we are black. They do it because they are white. And so Trump is literally like, I got to ramp up the racism because all I have for my constituents is to abuse minorities and immigrants and refugees. That's all he has for them. And so he has to take that up to level 10. And so what he's going to be doing now, as we're about a year and a month, a year and 2 months away from the presidential election, Trump is going to have to really gas up the racism. And that's where we come in. And we have to see, are white folks going to, are poor and working class white people going to fall for it? He didn't end the wars. He said he was going to defeat Al-Qaeda in a week or two. He didn't end the wars. He didn't bring back the jobs in the industry. Coal is not back. Steel is not back. Automotive is not back. Manufacturing hasn't come back. And then industries that were actually doing pretty well, such as corporate and industrial farming, he has gutted corporate and industrial farming. And he's literally given over $32 billion in welfare. We don't call it that when white folks get it. It's only when black folks get it. Handouts, free stuff. Remember all that? People were voting for Obama because he gives free stuff. Well, if you take away the Toxic Asset Reclamation Program, the TARP program to rescue the collapsing housing and investment industries, if you take that away, because that's a unique situation that Republicans and Democrats favored, if you take that away, Obama has given out the fraction of free stuff and welfare that Trump has handed out. Trump is giving out handouts, but agriculture is suffering. And even with his $32 billion, they find that 90% of that money went to the top 5% of agriculturalists. So the poor and working class farmers didn't even get the taste of that. So Trump is literally like, I got to take money out of the military, the beloved military, from military benefits to build a wall. So Trump is going to be ramping up racist symbolic acts of racism and authoritarianism to win them back because he has nothing else for them. So Trump is going to have to stomp harder on our necks to convince white people that he will once again make America great again, which takes America back to pre-Civil War, even pre-New Deal to the era of Jim Crow. That's when they think America was great, back to the Gilded Age. So even though my time is almost up, so we're going to pick it up here. We're not going to do a whole show